You are now tuned in to DM3 Entertainment. So let's talk about it. Hey, don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe. Let's go. What's up, YouTube? It's your man, AD, better known as Smooth DJ Abdullah the Butcher. And to all my melanated people, I'm your favorite YouTuber. So, what I'm going to talk about today is the fact that I know y'all all know who Kevin Samuels is, and this is not no diss video or anything like that towards Kevin Samuels. What it is, even though the title says Kevin Samuels, you're wrong, that you have to have 100,000, because you hear all the time when he's doing the show, women will call up and they'll be like, looking for a man, and he'll say, how much does he make, and how much do you think you need to live and survive? Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna show you some pictures, and I'm gonna chime in on many different people that we have grown up seeing on television. And as we all know, TV is a form of what's really happening in the world. A lot of times we get a lot of misrepresentations of us, but at the same time, growing up, we got a lot of representation of us on the good side of things, you know? And I'm gonna try to bring that to the forefront, try to make it understood that for no one who, like myself, I am under the average of what they say, as Kevin says, $45,000 a year. The average melanated man. I don't like to use the word black man because I don't believe we black anyway. To all my indigenous people, all my people who understand where they're from and what their records are, they know what I'm talking about. But getting back to what I was saying, I'm under average on the everyday or the yearly salary of the melanated man. They say it's supposed to be 45,000 a year as your average man, and this is who you run across. But I believe that a lot of brothers are under that. But what I'm trying to explain here and what I'm trying to show in this video is that you do not have to be upset. You do not have to feel bewildered. You do not have to feel bad if you don't make $100,000 or more. And I'm trying to show you by these examples that I'm going to get into that I'm going to show you pictures of old television shows and people that we grew up watching. And it shows you that you didn't have to be super rich. You did not have to be one of the 10 percentile of high value men for you ladies to be chasing to think that you'll be happy. So let me just get into it, and we're gonna start talking about it. Now, as this video starts, I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, as you see this first picture, we know Thelma and her husband on Good Times. She got married. She was still living in the projects. My man was supposed to be a NFL superstar, but JJ hurt his leg, and my man didn't get that big contract and didn't get to play for the Chicago Bears back in the 70s. But he and Thelma didn't say, "Oh, because you didn't get that big bag." Thelma then was like, "Nah, I'm not messing with you. I'm not gonna be with you." No, what she did was because they felt, one, they always try to push the love thing. So they was in love. Love is a good thing, but also what you should think about is that person your best friend? Is that person a person that you can work with and is gonna make your family work? And as you've seen on the show, I know pretty much everybody who has watched this, is watching this video, has seen Good Times and have seen the ups and downs that Thelma and her husband went through, but they made it. That's why they called it Good Times, because they made it through and they weren't rich. That's my first example. Second example you see right up under them is Whitley and Dwayne Wade. I said Dwayne Wade. Dwayne from a different world. Both of them were college students. And when they did get married, Willie, Whitley came from a family where they were well to do. They was above a six-figure earning man. She was with a family where they had southern ties and they made good money, and she was used to that type of lifestyle. But Dwayne coming straight from Brooklyn, coming from a lower income, I call it middle class, meaning because they didn't grow up in the projects, but they wasn't rich. I think his dad was a bus driver, so they came from humble. He came from humble beginnings. But those two came together in college and fell in love. Like I said, they like to push the love thing, but they fell in love, and they came together. And at first, Whitley tried to go with the professor, or the senator, the man that was going to make good money, and his family would love her to have made that connection with him, but it didn't work out like that. How it worked out was Dwayne and her got together, and at first we all, as you if you watch the show, at first we thought Dwayne was going to be making big money because he was a good student. He was into tech, way before we knew Zuckerberg and Bezos and all those people. This is the type of positive energy they were giving you back in the 90s, saying that a brother could come from Brooklyn and he could work his way up to being in the tech world and making big money. So he had went, for a summer internship. He went to Japan and worked, and everything was going to work out, and they was going to be living lovely, and it was going to be a good relationship between those two. So, not to keep telling a long story, but basically, after all that, she chose to be with him, and when she was with him, he became a professor at the school. And professors, when they first start, they don't have what they call it, the thing when you have where you're able to be at the school and you make the good money and you don't have to go anywhere. He wasn't on that level yet, but she chose to be with him anyway. And that showed the example that she wasn't chasing the bag. But what happens, he was able to take care of her, and she maintained by what they had together. And these first two are examples to show you, sisters, that you do not have to be going around chasing men for their money. You should be building a relationship that's going to work for you and the man treat you well, because the first two, Thelma's man treated her well, Whitley's man treated her well, and they acted like men. They made sure that they provided the best way they could, and the women were grateful to be with their men and work with them, and that's how that went. Now, on the other side of Thelma, on the top, you have, I forget their names, but they were the two from the Jeffersons. Both of them were the children of both families. George Jefferson's son, and the young lady was the daughter of the interracial couple. And back in the 70s, that was a big thing. And it was vice versa. It wasn't a melanated brother talking to a white girl. It was a melanated sister talking to a white man. But it all worked out, and those two came together because they grew up around each other. Made the point of not saying, "Oh, because I knew you and I grew up around you, you're like my boy, my best friend, my homie. I don't have a sexually connection with you, so I'm not trying to be with you." No, they understood that they worked good together, so they got married, and they worked out together. They had a child. Everything worked out lovely for them. So that's what happened with that example. And they came from a well-to-do home. Like I said, both of their parents were married. Both of their parents were in the six-figure back then in the 70s. So they were doing very well. So that's showing you an example of three so far. I'm showing you three people so far that it wasn't about the bag. It was about working together and building a family, right? Then we go down to the 90s, where you got Martin and Gina. Now, Martin and Gina, they never were married, but they were committed to each other. And we all know Gina made more money than Martin, but she never made Martin seem as though he was less than her because he didn't make the big bed. He worked in that little radio station where it wasn't all that. It wasn't like crazy. He wasn't crazy famous or anything like that. And she worked the business she worked for at, working in corporate America, doing what she did, but they worked out together and we all seen that coming up. So I just wanted to show y'all, first of all, that was the first example of saying that, ladies, six figures is not the reason you should be upset that the man you run into doesn't make that. And you can't keep believing that because the man doesn't make six figures, you can't have a decent life. And that's the thing I wanted to say about, I always wanted to tell Kevin, it's not about six figures. It's about the two people understanding what their economic goals are and how to live as a unit inside a household. So I'm gonna move on to the next frame, and I'm gonna talk about that next one. So here we go. Sticking with the good times, good times theme again. Still, we got Florida Evans and Mr. Evans. We all know he did not make nowhere near the kind of money that girls are yelling for today. But they were the family unit. They were thick as thieves. They were tight. James would work 2 or 3 jobs to make sure his family was taken care of. And that was a nuclear family. It was a father, a mother, children, and they all lived together and they did what they had to do to be together. And like I said, even today, you still can do the same thing. You don't have to make big money to have a good family. You just need to come together with someone that works good with you. Y'all come up with a plan and y'all work together. So that's that number one example. You can be poor and still be married and still make things happen. You just both have to understand each other. Moving on, moving on, moving on. Look at it there. Here's another one. 227. Father was a bus driver. The mother was a housewife. Sitting on the porch chilling and doing what she needed to do. When I say chilling, I don't mean that she wasn't doing nothing. She was a housewife and she made things happen in the household, making sure everything was running smooth. And they didn't have a bunch of beef with each other. And she wasn't going around talking about, you don't make six figures. You ain't nothing but a bus driver. So I don't want to be with you. Nah. They understood the dynamic of family. They understood what it is to be a husband and a wife and to work together. And like I said, all the videos, all the stuff I have shown you so far was things if you grew up in the 90s, the 80s and the 70s, these are all positive examples of what you should have been doing when it came to being with somebody and building a family, meaning having a mother and a father and a family in the household, the nuclear family. That's what you should be doing, and that's what you should be striving for. Now, moving on to the next one. Here's another family that didn't make a lot of money. You have Mr. Winslow and his wife. He was a policeman. Now we all know cops don't make no kind of money. They make they especially when you just a beat cop. And I think he was a sergeant, so he made a little more, but he wasn't making six figures. But they owned a house. They lived in a nice neighborhood. They had lots of kids. They even let kids come into the house, into the house and visit and whatnot. So, like I said, I keep showing examples of the fact that six figures should not be your main thing that you're thinking about when it comes to finding a mate. What should be done is, does this person work with me? Now, it's not a problem if you feel a need that you want to go half with the person you're with, but it takes a special type of person to be able to deal with someone who wants to go half. Because if you as a man go half with a lady, you're going to hear her say what she does for the relationship. most of the time. But my advice is that the man should take care of the major bills like the mortgage, the lights, the gas, the water. Take care of all those things that are the main things that's going to keep the house running. Now, if his woman, and it should be his wife, and she wants to work, then she does things like take care of bills that aren't major. And then understand that this is a family unit. The husband is the head of the household, and she is a helper with the head of the household, meaning there has to be a captain, and then there must be lieutenants, there must be sergeants, and then there must be soldiers. Soldiers can't think they're the captain. A sergeant can't think he's the captain. We all must know who the leader is in the household, and that's how things can work. And like I say, once again, you don't have to make six figures for a family unit to work. And, I'm just showing you these things. And like I said, I hear it a lot of times watching a lot of the videos and a lot of the things that go on YouTube where everybody's crying about can't find a good man, can't find a good man. Women ain't nothing but gold diggers. Women ain't nothing but gold diggers. Women don't appreciate us. That's a percentage of melanated people that are like that. But y'all got to remember, there's a large number of us in the United States of America that don't fit the category of either being from the hood or the ghetto or being a baby mama or being a Pookie or Ray Ray. There's a lot of men that are positive, strong men doing what they got to do. There's lots of positive and strong women doing what they got to do. All I say is those two have to come together. That's what you got to do. You got to humble yourself, find someone that you can work with, and make it happen. Now, this is another sitcom, another TV show that y'all know, Blackish, showing you another family dynamic, a nuclear family. Because see, what I'm trying to do with this video is try to make people understand that it's all about building a unit. Stop doing it by yourself and stop saying that you can do it all by yourself and you don't need a man for nothing. And men, stop saying these women ain't nothing but gold diggers. What it is, yes, if you come across one, then don't mess with her, but find the ones that aren't that, because women are out there. You just have to find the one that works for you, But let me explain these two's dynamic. As we all know, the father, he was into advertisement, making good money. And if I'm not mistaken, the wife was a nurse, and she did complain a lot of times about why would she have to stay home and raise the kids and not work and build her career, stuff that we hear a lot of times from young ladies, which I understand, young ladies, if you feel you went to college and you did all the studying and paying all the money, why should you not do your degree, or why shouldn't you chase your dreams? All I would say with that statement is when time comes to be responsible for another human being, meaning your children, or to get involved with another human being, meaning your husband or your wife, then you have to make certain sacrifices to say what's going to be better for me to fulfill my own feelings of happiness and work, but at the same time the family suffers, and not only suffers now as children, but suffers as they grow up, because they grew up in a dynamic where they did not see their mother doing the things that mothers are supposed to do: nurture, show love, sympathy, empathy, humbleness. These are the type of things that come from the female side of things, that are great examples that the young men, their sons and their daughters, can see. So when they grow up, they have examples of how they are supposed to behave, so that people will know that they will become good husbands and good wives. Because that's one thing that you do hear a lot on YouTube, that people say that I want to be a wife but don't know how to act like one, want to be a husband but don't know how to act like one. Your mother and father, if they are together in in a nuclear family, then you have a perfect example of how to act like one. So that's all I'm saying is that I understand, ladies. You want to fulfill your needs, you want to fulfill your dreams, you want to fulfill everything you do. But when children come involved and when you choose to be with someone, you have to learn to say it's time for me to get in where I fit in. And I'm the wife, I'm not the husband. The husband is the breadwinner. The husband is the protector. The husband is the fighter. The husband is the one who's supposed to do all the heavy lifting. And when you understand that, then it works better. But when you want to take his position, then you say, what is my husband good for if I'm doing his position? That's why you hear a lot of times ladies always say, I make six figures, I got a nice house, I got a car, what I need you for? Exactly. What do you need him for? So if you say something like that, what do you need him for? Then you should think to yourself, I need to pump my brakes and not do so much so that I have space for my man to be of purpose. Because that's the thing. If the man has no purpose, then you don't care for him. You don't respect him. You will be like, why am I involved in this? Because you didn't let your man do his purpose. So I wanted to show you that because this show here is one of the shows that is a very good show, but at the same time, it's a lot of subliminal messages thrown towards the melanated sister, where it makes it hard for her to be that humble person and say, I want to fit in where I need to be for my relationship so that me and my husband can be happy. So we're moving on to the next one. I'm going through this pretty quick, but I don't want to ramble off and speak crazy and talk crazy. Okay, as you all know, here's another family. Like I'm showing you all families that were together, mother and father together. Because today it's a lot of propaganda showing you hot girl summer, single this, single that. Women always yell, I want a scammer, I want a hustler, showing guys throwing their money up at the strip club, doing all the stuff by himself. Then you got brothers yelling and screaming about women just want me for my bag. And then girls go, well, that's all we want you for is the bag. So you ain't worth nothing but your bag. But when you truly understand what a family unit is about, then all that stuff is irrelevant because you came into this relationship to build together, to build an empire. Because you got to think about, you're not just talking about you and your wife, you're talking about your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren. These are people that you want to start with a great foundation so they can build on top of build, on top of build, on top of build. It's the mentality we got to have. Now, with these two, same thing. Now, the father, when I remember this show, I think he owned his own business. So he could have been a dude making six figures. But the fact of the matter is he still had a wife. They were married and they worked together. Now, the wife also had a couple episodes where they was throwing that propaganda out there again, having to do with why she couldn't work and why she stay home and she wants to get out and work. And he's trying to say the most important thing, and women don't realize, being a mother is the most important job on the planet because you guys y'all truly build civilization. The way a mother is the way a child would be. If you have a smart and intelligent mother, you have a smart, intelligent child. You have an ignorant, stupid mother, you have an ignorant, stupid child. And if it hurts people's feelings, I don't care because it's the truth. The mother is the first teacher of the child. And the thing is, the importance of having a husband, you're teaching your child the importance of having a husband. But if you want to be a single mom and say, I just want to have a baby on my own, that's explaining to your daughter there's no importance for a man. So you're teaching her wrong right from the beginning. But if you have a husband, it's showing her the importance of having a husband. And then when she sees you and her father, Not her sister's father, not her brother's father, but her father, her brother's father, and her daughter, her other sister's father all have the same dad. That's an example to show them what a unit is supposed to be and how two intelligent people interact with each other and love each other and respect each other. And that's what you're supposed to see. Moving on to the next one. All right, we all know. We all know about Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. There's another example of a well-to-do man with his wife. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I forget what Uncle Viv did, but I know she supported him big time. And I know she used to be a dancer. I don't know if she stopped dancing and just was married to Uncle Phil, or anybody in the comments can tell me if she was working or was she just at the house making sure that the family was taken care of. Because when people don't be realizing when somebody says I'm just a housewife, that's terrible. You're not just a housewife. You are a man, you are basically controlling a Fortune 500 company in your house because you're dealing with future CEOs, future athletes, future teachers, future engineers, people that's going to become something. And if you're there to nurture them and build them into who they are and support them, then that's greater than anything. But that's a lot of the problems we have with a lot of our children today. Their mom got to go out and work, and they're a single mom, and they have to learn how to deal with all this stuff on their own without any type of loving support of any sort. But when you have a mother who's there, because women are the greatest ones when it comes to showing love and being nurturing and things like that. Men, we're more on the physicality side. We show our love physically, meaning that if our child has a problem, we're ready to beat you up. We're ready to take care of it with the hands. That's what we do. But a mom can get into the inner workings of the mind of their child, the emotional feelings, different things like that. So it's very important that a mom is a person that's around their child more than the school system, more than anybody else. The mother should be someone they see, I would say, 20, 20 hours out of the 24 hours a day. That's what a mom should be around their child. And like I said, that mother should have a husband so that you can show that the dynamic together. And like I said, look at that. Like I said, we have been going through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s with mother and father, mother and father, mother and father examples that are on TV. But I guess people are not paying attention to how important that is. All right. Now we all know Bill went through what he went through and has got his name tainted through all the nonsense that went through. And people hate him, other people understand him, other people say he may have did what he did. But the bottom line is you can't take away he gave us one of the greatest melanated families in the history of television. We had a father who was a doctor and a mother who was a lawyer. But at the same time, both of them were always in their kids' lives. Like I said, showing you once again the importance of a mother and a father being in their kids' lives. Nothing else needs to be said with that one. We all know how great they were. And not only did they raise their own kids, they raised a lot of kids in the 90s and the 80s. I had to throw this one in here because, like I said, I'm trying to show you that dynamic, that six figures. You don't need six figures to be happy in a relationship. You have to understand each other because we are all we know, as we all know on the show, Living Single. The women started out living single, right? But as you see, these two, they came together. He was just a maintenance man, a carpenter, a handyman. So he wasn't making six figures. And his woman was a secretary at a newspaper that was independent news, making it not connected to no multi corporation or anything of that nature. But those two came together, and they're one of the most popular couples in the history of melanated, as y'all say, black television. So, like I said before, and I'm showing these pictures to let y'all understand that there are many, many examples that you do not have to be rich, you do not have to be of the elite to be in a marriage, to make it happen together. You could be an average earner and still have a good relationship. Ladies, you can get with an average earner and he can take care of you. You just have to understand what's really important. Is a Birkin bag important, or is the rent being paid on time important? Is driving around in a Maybach important, or just having a Honda Accord that is reliable to get you back and forth to work and is clean and looks nice? What's more important? These are the type of things you got to think about. Stop letting the world tell you what makes you happy. Reprogram yourself to say these things are not that important. What's important is to find someone that I can build with together. So not only me and my man can be good, but our children can be good. Our grandchildren can be good. And generation after generation after generation can be good. Because we keep fumbling the ball and having to start over because everybody wants to do for self. You ain't gonna get nowhere like that. Not at all. Not at all. Like I said, I'm showing y'all all type of couples that y'all grew up watching. Here's another two. They knew each other since they were little kids. He pushes her down, puts a scar on her face. They had something in common. Ball. They play ball. Both of them play ball. Loving basketball. Y'all know that. And I'm just gonna get to the end part of why I put these two on the screen. They finally hook up where she works a regular job at her dad's bank. He hurts himself after being in the NBA, going through rehab, really ain't making the money like he used to make. He's still good, got good money. But the fact of the matter, she wasn't on some, oh well, you ain't got no big contract no more. You coming off the bench. Ain't no reason why I should be marrying you. No, she knew that he was her best friend. Like I tell y'all all the time, love is important, but friendship is even more important in a relationship. Because you will never do your homeboy dead wrong. You will never do your homegirl dead wrong. So if you wouldn't do them two dead wrong, you shouldn't do your husband or your wife dead wrong because they should be your best friend. Bottom line. So, like I said, they get together, they get married, and then she goes to the WNBA when it first began, and he supported her dreams now. Two of them supporting each other. Like I say, example after example after example that is important that two people come together and support each other. Y'all got to get off of it. Y'all got to get off this stupidness about it's only about you. It's only about you. Give you another example of a family y'all grew up watching on TV. The Hewleys. Another guy had his own business doing with vending machines. He raised his family. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the mom was a teacher. But the whole matter is that they were together. I'm just showing y'all family love. I'm trying to show y'all black families that can make it happen without being six-figure earners. Six figures. You don't need six figures. I'll say it again. You don't need six figures. And before I get out of here, I'm going to show you this one. Before I get out of here, we got Everybody Hates Chris, right? And we all know Chris lived in Brooklyn, New York. If anybody's from New York, they know how it is to live in Brooklyn. I don't know how it is today, but in the 70s, it wasn't no picnic. And the dad worked the job, the mom worked when she could, but she was a mother first. And the thing that was important about them two was that I remember on the show, it was always funny. She would say, I don't gotta go for this. My man got two jobs. Meaning the man was the provider, the protector, the nurturer of his family. And the mother was his support. And they raised the family together. And nobody was making six figures. So, like, I just want to say, people, come on, we got to get out of that. Got to get out of that thing of six figures, six figures, six figures, six figures. Because here's a little graph. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the graph right here is showing you the income levels. Income levels, people. Take a look at it. Ladies, stop chasing these men making all this money. Men don't make that kind of money on the average. On the average, this is what y'all looking at when you look at this graph. Men are not making big time money. So what you got to do is find a man who will treat you like you're supposed to be treated, take care of your basic bills, but treat you nice. And this is what you should be. This is what your goal should be. And it ain't about talking about lowering your standards. It ain't lowering your standards. It's about being realistic. You know, like myself, I might want a Ferrari, but I drive a Lexus because I don't have the finances to have a Ferrari. That's not lowering my standards because the car I drive now is not a Ferrari. So the same thing with you guys got to realize. You're looking at something that is very hard to obtain. And if you want to take your chance and take all your life to try to find that 1%, that small percent, y'all see the percentages at the bottom. If you want to go for that, go ahead. But you got to remember there's way more women on the planet than there are men. And that makes it even more difficult for you. But if you deal with people that a higher percentage of people that you could be with that still can maintain a lifestyle that you could be comfortable with, you ain't gonna have to be, you don't gotta be rich. But you can be comfortable. You can be nice. Everything can be good. That's what you should be doing. You know, that's what you should be doing. And I show you this last graph, and it's also showing you once again the difficult journey it is to think that you're gonna find a man making big dough. Because that number gets smaller and smaller. So it's less men, but way more women chasing that same man. So what you need to do is find a man you know that's responsible and takes care of you know how Kevin says the three F's. Well, I got to think for men, there's three P's. Making sure a man is a provider, a protector, and a pamperer. And when I say pamper, I mean he takes care of you, makes you happy when it comes to basic necessities and things that's not out of this world. But remember that. He provides, he protects, and he pampers you. And if you got that, then you're doing better than a lot of females out here. Because like I said, you see these graphs, you see these percentages. There ain't a whole bunch of six-figure men that's going to be doing that for you. Because men who are up there making that kind of money, they believe that they have the right to act the way they want to act, and they don't need to change for you. But a man who's humble with he's more willing to work with you. And all you got to do is humble yourself somewhat, and everything will be good between the two of y'all. So that was just something I wanted to throw together real quick. And I've been wanting to talk about that for a while now because I've seen what Kevin's been saying. And Kevin's been doing a great job what he's doing, 100%, because he's making it happen. He's out there. He's mainstream now. And I have nothing negative to say about him. I just wanted to say that there is a percentage of people that you can do well without having to be a six-figure earner. you can live a nice, happy life. You know, and want to say one last thing. They always say, happy life, happy wife. I say, scratch that. It should be this. And Gilly the Kid said this. He said, happy husband won't be no fussing. You feel me? But I'm going to get up out of here. And until next time, this is YouTube. This is DM3 Entertainment. And we out of here. So, till next time, peace. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And be free like an Indian and wild like a cowboy. Because your ancestors were both of them. Just a little something for you to think about. Peace until next time.